We did a couple of songs, and they never were found. They've been lost.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
He said he
they're in
wrote,
the vaults.
Can you hear me? Can you feel me inside? Show your love. Take it in right. Take it in right. But I don't know what happened to it.
What was it like working with David Bowie?
Maybe there's a short book that one could write about that.
Because that was such a great song.
I just always think I'm one of the luckiest people. Not to say that in life one doesn't have challenges and ups and downs and you're thrown from side to side. Of course, no matter your circumstances, life has its challenges, but I am definitely one of the lucky people. I always say I've got angels on my shoulders. And at that point, I definitely had angels on my shoulders. Bowie was a fan of mine. And of course, I didn't know. And he just, he had a thing about my voice. I mean, he said one of the things to me that at that point in my life, I'd been in this business for a long time, and I'd struggled a lot with record producers. I'd struggled a lot finding exactly the right songs for me. And, you know, I'd had hits, but some of them I thought were a little bit sort of like nursery rhyme. And my favorite singers were Big Mama Thornton, Ray Charles, Brenda Lee, because she had the, sort of soulful and raw, not sing-alongy. And a lot of producers would give me stuff like that. But David said, and I think it's public, it's written somewhere, that he actually said in public that they don't get you. They don't get your voice, and they don't get you. And he was talking about record companies. So I felt really like I'd been seen. I felt heard. I felt nobody gets me. Nobody really gets me. They think I'm cute, which I used to hate. They think I'm bubbly, which I am, but it's not all of me, you know. And I've always been very serious about music. And there's where David and I connected. So I don't remember the first time I remember bumping into him in a studio with Iggy Pop, and he was not happy, Iggy. I think I interrupted them because David was, he was really kind of like, give me his full focus. But I think the big meeting, you could say, was I was doing a gig in Sheffield. David Bowie was on tour. He was going to do a gig in Sheffield, and we were at the same hotel. I was actually sitting in the foyer of the hotel with my director, John Ammons. John Ammons worked for the BBC. He worked with the Morecambe and Wise forever. Right. Tony Hancock. Mainly comics, comedians. And he put me on a TV series called Three of a Kind when I was just 16. But at this point, I was doing a series, and he came out to talk to me about what he had in mind. And he was very much old school, very old. He had like, you know, what are those big bushy mustaches like they'd have in the army? He was an English gentleman, you know, sort of talk a bit like that. But he was from Manchester, so he had a bit of an accent. But he was, and he had probably a checkered shirt and a waistcoat and a pipe. Can you get the idea?
Okay, yeah.
And David Bowie walks into the foyer as Ziggy Stardust.
Whoa.
And I'm in the middle of the two. I don't know what I look like at that point, but I went, oh my God, that's David Bowie. And he said, who? And David Bowie turned around and he saw me, and that was it. Yeah. So we hooked up, chatted, and that night he invited me to the show, and it was the first time I ever saw him live. But I knew who he was. I knew everything he did. My brother and I were really enamored of him. And that night he said, I want to record you. He said, because they don't get you. They don't get you. They don't get your voice. I'm going to have And he used a few expletives, you know, hit record with you. And I thought, wow. And then I thought the next day, yeah, right. We'll see, because we all were a bit sloshed, to say the least. It was like went into the I don't even know what time the party finished that night. But that was it. That was it. And he did come through, yes.
Yeah, didn't he?
Did. I have some sadness in a way, that it didn't continue. And that was because David was on a path that really was not my path at that time. And it's been documented, what he was doing. He was experimenting. And when I was in New York, because I went to New York after The Man Who Sold the World was a hit, and there was a lot of hanging around. And I thought, I can't do this. Kind of. It's a little bit scary,
Yeah.
not knowing what's the next. And I'm a workaholic. Just give me work and I'll be at it. So we did a couple of songs and they never were found. They've been lost.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
He said he
they're in
wrote,
the vault.
Can you hear me? Can you feel me inside? Show your love. Take it in right. Take it in right. But I don't know what happened to it, and I never heard it again. I think there was one other, but I can't remember.
Didn't he make you smoke before you did the vocal?
Oh, that was in the Chateau Aéroville in Paris, outside Paris. David smoked Gitane or Disc Bleu. Can't remember. He smoked the very sort of heavy French cigarettes without a filter. And I was always conscious not to do that. I was worried it would, my voice. Because, when I made Shout, the most common thing I would hear or that I would remember, something stick in your mind, nobody else that bothers them. But I'd hear people say, oh, well, she'll never last, will she? She keeps singing like that. And in my wee Scottish head, I was like, just watch. And of course, yes, I have lasted.
Yeah.
This is gold.